I had set my sights on that female doctor, Lu Nguyen, cold and aloof by nature. Distant and untouchable, with a quiet arrogance that kept everyone at arm's length. I poured all my resources into pursuing her, wishing I could pluck the stars from the sky and lay them at her feet. Day after day I called her my little ancestor, my little heart, but after an entire year of effort, this stubborn bone still refused to crack. The sense of failure wrapped around me like creeping vines, squeezing the air from my lungs. Under relentless pressure from the old man at home, I finally shut my eyes and went along with a blind date. I never expected that Lu Nguyen, somehow getting wind of it, would storm straight into the restaurant, grab me, drag me out, and haul me all the way back to her place. She pinned me against her thigh, and a fierce kiss crashed down on me, leaving me dizzy, my eyes nearly stinging with tears. Her face was dark, her breath brushing my neck. Hadn't I always been the one clinging to her, saying I wanted her body, saying I wanted to sleep with her? Fine, then try this. A month earlier, I had once again stubbornly registered an appointment under Lu Nguyen's name. My liver hurt, my stomach hurt. Dr. Lu, please take a look. Could this be radiating colic? Yes, right here. No headache, no chest tightness. Doctor, do you think I've caught some kind of incurable disease? I clutched my stomach and wailed dramatically. Lu Nguyen shot me an indifferent glance, her gaze sharp as a scalpel, and pressed down on my lower left abdomen. Without a word, I quietly guided the hand pressing on my lower left to my upper right. Based on the symptoms you described, she said flatly, without the slightest ripple in her tone, there's a high probability it's gallstones. I recommend you go to internal medicine for a color Doppler ultrasound or a CT scan. I'll cancel your appointment here. She reached for the computer. I immediately sat up straight and grabbed her wrist. Don't cancel it. Dr. Lu, can't you treat me yourself? Lu Nguyen closed her eyes. When she opened them again, her face wore an impeccably professional smile, though there was no warmth at all in her eyes. She lightly brushed my hand away. Mr. Jiang, this is the psychiatry department. Bang! The consultation room door slammed shut in my face. I rubbed my nose, which had nearly been flattened by the door, and stood there grinning stupidly at the closed crack. Even when she was irritated, she was beautiful beyond reason. Mr. Jiang, you're here again? Nurse Lam Mong Mong passed by, saw my utterly dejected look, and greeted me with a giggle. I leaned casually against the wall, raised an eyebrow at her. Wrong. This is the 32nd time. Lam Mong Mong gave me a thumbs up. Impressive. Last time it was epilepsy. The time before that rabies. What's the symptom this time? Annoyed, I waved her off. Go do your job. She made a goofy face, gestured for me to keep it up, and ran off. I chuckled, shook my head, pulled out my phone, and opened the chat with Lu Nguyen. Dr. Lu, to repay you for working so hard treating me, I ordered seafood congee and herbal duck soup from Guangji. It'll be delivered in half an hour. Remember to eat. After typing the final tilde, my face didn't redden and my heart didn't race. I waved goodbye to the other girls at the nurses' station and left the hospital feeling pretty good about myself. That evening, I lay sprawled on my bed, a lollipop in my mouth, scrolling through my phone, when I landed on Lam Mong Mong's Moments. She was smiling brightly next to the not-so-luxurious meal I'd ordered for Lu Nguyen. With a caption, Dr. Lu went to a meeting and didn't have the luck to enjoy it. Thanks to Boss Jiang for the supplies. Crack, I bit straight through the candy. From the very first moment I saw Lu Nguyen, I fell hard. I used to think love at first sight was nonsense, wasn't it just lust? Seeing big breasts and shapely hips and getting stirred up? But that day, the sunlight was just right. And she stood there in a white lab coat. That cool, pristine presence etched itself into my heart. Impossible to forget. 27 years of living. And for the first time I understood what it felt like to have a little rabbit bouncing around in my chest. For the past year, I'd poured everything into teasing this stubborn bone. It took half a year just to add her on WeChat. And even now we were stuck at the stage where every invitation to eat was rejected. Forget having her. I hadn't even touched a finger. Frustrated, I chewed the lollipop into sway pieces and buried myself hard under the blanket. Near noon the next day, I drove myself to Guangji restaurant. Well, I'll be damned. What wind blew young Master Jiang here today? The owner greeted me warmly. The usual, open a private room? I waved my hand. No need. Pack me the most expensive seafood congee. Plus a nourishing fish soup. Wrap it well in a thermal bag. Take out? The owner rubbed his hands together. Young Master Jiang, this is nothing. You could have just called. We deliver it right to your door. Why trouble you to come in person? I sighed theatrically and slapped my right palm into my left. Ah, you don't understand. My little ancestor is picky. If I don't deliver it myself, she won't eat. Yesterday she even gave everything I ordered to someone else. What am I supposed to do? The owner slapped his thigh in sudden understanding. Ah, for the young madam. Then, please wait, I'll have the kitchen rush it. Half an hour later, one hand in my pocket and the other carrying the thermal bag. I whistled as I headed upstairs to find my precious one. Before I even saw her, I was blocked by a crowd in the hallway. Let me through, please, let me through. After much effort, I squeezed my way to the front, only to see a fierce-looking middle-aged man holding a knife to a young nurse's throat. Lu Nguyen stood in front of all the medical staff, her voice low and steady, carrying an unquestionable pressure. Calm down and let her go. My heart seized. Letting my precious one be in danger was absolutely unacceptable. I quietly slipped through the crowd, lunged in one swift move to the man's side, clamped down hard on the wrist holding the knife, and twisted. The knife clattered to the ground. I pulled the stunned young nurse behind me and followed through with a heavy kick to the man's ribs. Amid cries of shock, the attacker was sent flying. The security team, already waiting, rushed in and pinned him down. Jiang Nam. A low, furious shout rang in my ear. I shuddered. Lu Nguyen strode up to me, her face dark enough to drip water. She grabbed my arm. When I'd seized the knife, my forearm had been slashed, blood now welling up. She fired questions at me, her voice trembling. Do you have a death wish? Do you even have a brain? Don't you know how dangerous that was? My little white rabbit was panicking, because she was worried about me. I lowered my eyes and shamelessly played pitiful. You're scolding me. I risked my life to save someone and you're still scolding me. She frowned and shot me a glare. I'm not scolding you. Mr. Jiang is very capable. Aren't you? She flung my hand away and turned to leave. I stood there and counted silently. 1, 2, 3. Sure enough, after only a few steps, she turned back without a word, her face icy as she dragged me into the treatment room. Ow, 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 I howled miserably. Though she was a psychiatrist, Lu Nguyen's handling of external wounds was fast and precise. Amid my ghostly wails, she decisively finished cleaning and stitching the wound. A psychiatry doctor who could suture, I loved her even more. The only problem was that the entire time, her face was cold and she didn't spare me a single word. She was clearly still angry. A truly outstanding man, when the other party is upset, apologizes proactively regardless of right or wrong. I extended my uninjured hand and gently placed it over the back of the hand she was using to pack away the tools. The pressure and timing perfectly balanced between comfort and impropriety. I softened my voice. I was wrong. I won't be that reckless again. Don't ignore me, okay? Lu Nguyen finally looked up, giving me a distinctly unfriendly glance. She quickly tidied up, her face once again wearing that gentle but distant expression she used with others. Though her voice remained cold. Mr. Jiang, don't let the wound get wet. Come back on time to change the dressing over the next few days. This is the bill. Once you scan and pay, you can leave. I panicked. Hey, wasn't I here to bring you? I suddenly remembered the kanji and looked around frantically. Where's my kanji? Damn it. I rushed into the lobby, just in time to see the cleaning lady wiping away the last streak of spilled kanji on the floor. Beside the trash can was the Guangji thermal bag I'd carried like fragile eggs the entire way. I must not have checked the calendar before leaving today. Nothing went right. Mong, don't blame me for not warning you. Liking me has no future. I propped my head on my hand. Eyes unfocused. I belonged to her. In this lifetime, all my spending was reserved for Dr. Lu alone. I couldn't love anyone else. Lam Mong Mong rolled her eyes silently as she changed my dressing. Wake up, brother. You've long since been blacklisted by all the women in our department as marriage material. Anyone who likes you clearly hasn't thought it through. I slumped forward in frustration, burying my face against the table, my fingers tapping unconsciously in rhythm. Then why was it that after that day, Lu Nguyen never personally changed my dressing again? It had already been 5 days. I hadn't seen my little heart once. Don't tell me she was deliberately avoiding me? Lam Mong Mong snorted coldly and put away the medicine bottle. Our Dr. Lu is busy to the point of exhaustion. You think everyone is as idle as you? She paused, then added, besides, the people pursuing Dr. Lu are lined up around the block. You still have to take a number. I reached out and flicked her forehead lightly. But the movement tugged at my wound and made me yelp. Those crooked melons and cracked dates out there, how could they compare to me? Are they as handsome as I am? As rich as I am? Do they care about Dr. Lu like I do? I glared at her. You heartless thing. You drank the congee I gave to Lu Nguyen, and I haven't even settled accounts with you yet. Lam Mong Mong pulled a face. Then, once she was done, propped her chin on both hands. Her expression full of gossiping curiosity. Be honest. With conditions as good as yours, decent looks, good family background, you must have plenty of admirers around you. What exactly do you like about our Dr. Lu? Her looks, or her figure? I raised one finger and waved it in front of her. Vulgar. Do I look like someone who only looks at faces? I said righteously. Of course it's because of her temperament, pure as moonlight, cold and pristine like snow. That's what drew me in. As soon as I finished, I lowered my voice and winked at her. But then again, Dr. Lu's body, you know, I chuckled softly. I want it too, if I could be with her. Hey, I'd do anything she asked. Even though I don't have experience, I know how to cherish women. The experience definitely wouldn't be bad. Who knows, maybe she'd like it. I squinted at her. Hey, what's with that expression? The eager look on Lam Mong Mong's face instantly turned into horror. She blinked at me frantically, her features nearly twisting out of shape. My heart skipped a beat, a bad premonition crawling up my spine. Shit, I stiffened and slowly turned my head. Lu Nguyen had no idea how long she'd been standing at the doorway of the treatment room. Both hands were tucked into the pockets of her white lab coat. Her face was completely expressionless, her gaze icy, as if frozen solid. The air itself seemed to congeal. We stared at each other in silence for about 5 seconds. It seems Mr. Jiang's wound has recovered quite well, she finally said, her tone calm and flat, without the slightest ripple. Your spirits also seem very high. You won't need to come tomorrow. With that, she turned and left. The door closed with a soft click. Beside me, Lam Mong Mong burst into laughter like a honking goose. For the first time in my life, I hated my loose mouth this much. The tiny bit of goodwill I'd cautiously accumulated over an entire year had probably evaporated into thin air. And I'd even been branded a pervert. At that moment, I genuinely wanted to hang myself in the hospital hallway and be done with it. After dealing with the pile of work at the company, I went home in the evening and propped my legs up on the coffee table. On the tablet screen were the words, Top 10 Gifts Doctors Love Most. Flowers were out. Lu Nguyen wasn't that kind of woman, too frivolous. Expensive jewelry was even worse. She treated money like trash and would think I was flaunting my wealth. Giving a commendation banner while pursuing someone would just be idiotic. Might as well give her a cheongsam. A notebook? That actually seemed decent, cultured, customizable, low-profile luxury with substance. While I was deep in thought, a sudden boom of thunder exploded outside the window. City A's weather really was as temperamental as a child, sunny in the morning. Heavy rain in the blink of an eye. A flash of inspiration struck me. Lu Nguyen definitely wouldn't have brought an umbrella. I sprang off the sofa like a loaded spring and dashed into the bedroom. dug a long black wool coat out of the messy pile of clothes, threw it on, grabbed the only long-handled umbrella from the entryway, and rushed out the door. When I drove to the hospital, it was right at the start of the evening shift. After waiting less than 10 minutes, that slender, straight figure appeared in the lobby. Hey, lie, I hadn't even finished calling out when I saw Lu Nguyen calmly pull a folding umbrella from her bag and snap it open. My arm, which had been waving my long-handled umbrella, froze midair. What a coincidence. Dr. Lu brought an umbrella too, I said stiffly. She nodded. The weather forecast said it would rain today. I stood there dumbfounded. The plane had already taken off on this flight. Lu Nguyen looked me up and down and frowned slightly. Why are you here at this hour? Are you feeling unwell somewhere? I sighed sadly. I came to pick up my little white rabbit because I was afraid she'd get wet. But it turns out she's completely self-sufficient and doesn't need me at all. After hearing that, Lu Nguyen looked at me the way one might look at a psychiatric patient who'd escaped from the ward. Her lips moved, as if she wanted to say something, then stopped. I glanced around, my gaze landing on a mother and child sheltering from the rain at the entrance of the outpatient building. I took my umbrella over, bent slightly, and handed it to them politely. Please take this and cover the child. Amid their repeated thanks, I slipped both hands into my pockets and strolled back toward Lu Nguyen with an easy smile. Dr. Lu, I don't have an umbrella to get home now. Could I trouble you to let me share yours for part of the way? Her expression could only be described with 4 words, utterly speechless. After a few seconds of silence, her umbrella tilted slightly, covering me as well. Let's go. Wait, I stopped her just as she was about to step into the rain. She looked at me, a little puzzled. I quickly took off the coat I was wearing and, before she could react, draped it over her shoulders, naturally holding down the hands she raised to push it away, then took the umbrella handle from her hand. The chill of the rainy night mixed with damp air hit my face. It's cold already, with rain this heavy and humid. You still don't know to wear more? My voice carried a reproach I hadn't even noticed myself. What if you catch a cold? Lu Nguyen seemed stunned, her mouth slightly open, at a loss for words. I was secretly delighted and took the opportunity to hook her arm. Half hugging, half supporting her toward the parking lot. My inner Suan Pan clicked rapidly. Once I got her downstairs to her place, I'd use thanking her as an excuse to invite her up to sit for a while. Open a good bottle of wine. Let the atmosphere thicken, then sincerely confess. Maybe I'd even get a hug or a kiss, if luck was good. I might even stay the night. If she didn't resist, we'd cook the rice directly. Confirm the relationship. Take her home for the new year. Perfect. The plan was airtight. The car stopped quickly downstairs, at my apartment. I unbuckled my seatbelt, leaned over, and smiled. Thank you so much, Dr. Lu. It's getting late. You should go upstairs, she said, cutting off all my fantasies before I could say another word. I still refused to give up. Then how about tomorrow night? Are you free? I'll treat you to dinner. Lu Nguyen's fingers gripping the steering wheel curled slightly. I almost stopped breathing as I waited. Not free. It was still the same answer. I immediately deflated like a punctured balloon, my shoulders slumping as my head fell back. This little white rabbit really did have hard teeth. Not only could I not bite into it, I chipped my own teeth instead. After a brief silence, I suddenly heard her add softly, "Tomorrow our department has a get-together." I snapped my head up. She immediately turned her face away, but I still caught a trace of indescribable emotion flicker at the corner of her eye. The heart that had just plunged into the abyss shot straight up into the clouds. A department party definitely meant drinking. What happened after drinking, I wouldn't dare say. But the chance to hear true words had arrived. Tomorrow, I would definitely go pick her up, take her home, and ask her clearly what she really felt about me. If her feelings weren't bad, I'd take advantage of her tipsiness and claim victory. Then blame it all on her being the one who initiated it. Perfect. I grinned immediately and leaned closer with a sly look. Sleep well, Dr. Lu. No rush returning the coat. I'll come get it when you're free. I happily closed the car door, watched her car disappear into the rain, then turned and headed upstairs, humming a tune. The next evening, I checked the time again and again, then opened the chat with Lam Mong Mong for the nth time. 5 minutes earlier she'd said it was about to end, but there was no further progress. How long was about? Had this girl disappeared for half the day? Or had they drunk too much and forgotten themselves? Fine, I'd rely on myself. I grabbed my car keys and rushed out. Just as I finished changing my shoes, my phone buzzed. They've wrapped up, Lam Mong Mong said. Dr. Liu is almost done too. My mouth stretched to my ears as my fingers flew across the screen. Be sensible and toast her 2 more glasses. Best if she's drunk 8 parts. Humming softly, I sped toward the restaurant. In the lobby, I put on an expression of extreme surprise. What a coincidence. Your department's gathering here too? I greeted everyone familiarly. I'd long since infiltrated Lu Nguyen's department as unofficial staff. The entire table was a mess of swaying bodies. Lam Mong Mong lay sprawled over a chair, eyes glazed. A few people still sober waved at me weakly. I spotted Lu Nguyen slumped over the table in the corner. She rested her cheek on her arm and looked at me through a glass cup. Her gaze hazy, misted over. In that instant, all the noise around us vanished, leaving only her. A drunk Lu Nguyen, to me, was nothing less than a nuclear weapon with devastating destructive power. I called the server over to settle the bill and told them anyone who wanted to keep eating could order freely, put it all on my tab. Amid a chorus of flattery praising young Master Jiang's generosity, I half supported, half embraced Lu Nguyen as we left. When she was drunk, she was unusually obedient, letting me arrange everything, as I tucked her into the passenger seat and fastened the seatbelt. Her small hand accidentally brushed against my claw. I couldn't help lightly pinching her flushed cheek. Finally, I've caught you. I leaned close to her ear and whispered, struggling quite a bit just to rouse her enough to ask for the address. Then I fumbled around on her for a long time before finally finding her keys. Lu Nguyen looked slender, but she was frighteningly heavy. By the time I got her onto the bed, I felt like I'd lost half my life. My treasure, you look so thin, but when I carry you, this is no joke at all. I slumped onto the floor, panting, secretly vowing to sign up for a gym membership first thing tomorrow. If I couldn't even carry my beloved, that would be humiliating. After catching my breath, I crawled back up, took off her shoes, tucked her in carefully, then went to wring out a warm towel and meticulously wiped her face and neck. When everything was done, I sat by the bed, quietly watching her sleeping face. There was a certain aura about her that could calm a person's heart. Even with her eyes closed, she was so beautiful it was impossible to look away, as if a spring inside my chest had been gently plucked. According to the original plan, this would be the moment I do something bad. But when it really came down to it, that so-called courage of mine shrank back in an unexpectedly cowardly way. What if she got angry? What if she never wanted anything to do with me again after this? The angel and devil in my head fought without a clear winner. But under the warm yellow light and in such tender air, I ultimately gave in to temptation. Holding my breath, I bent down cautiously and very gently touched her lips. I pulled away the instant I made contact, and the moment I lifted my eyes, I crashed straight into a pair of clear, alert eyes. I was finished, caught red-handed. My heart went into overdrive as I desperately searched for an excuse. When in the next second, the world flipped upside down. Lu Nguyen grabbed the back of my neck, rolled over, and pinned me beneath her. A blazing, almost rough kiss crashed down on me. I wasn't even fully awake yet before my entire body lit up. I wrapped my arms tightly around her waist and responded enthusiastically. But her assault was too fierce. I couldn't catch my breath. And when she pinched my waist, half ticklish, half numbing, I had no choice but to lightly bite her lower lip to push her back a little. Baby, you're too on fire. Let me breathe for a second. I said it between gasps. But when I looked up, I met eyes that were astonishingly clear, without a trace of drunkenness. You're sober. Was it because I shook you awake earlier? The ambiguous atmosphere froze instantly, leaving behind suffocating silence. I swallowed hard and shamelessly delivered the line I'd prepared. You were the one who took the initiative. In my imagined script, she should have flushed and apologized in embarrassment. I would seize the chance to confess, half pushing, half yielding, and confirm the relationship. But Lu Nguyen remained silent. Without saying a word, she got up and walked away barefoot, sat down on the single sofa beside the bed, closed her eyes, and pressed her fingers to her brow, looking exhausted to the extreme. I sat up and watched her. Time stretched in silence. After a while, I stood up, took the fluffy slippers by the bed, walked over, squatted down in front of her, lifted her icy feet, and tucked them into the slippers. Lu Nguyen finally spoke, her voice low and hoarse. Jiang Nam. I cut her off, leaning back against the bed, lifting my head slightly to look at her, my gaze serious. Lu Nguyen, if you agree to be with me, I'll buy an apartment at Luc Den Hien, just 10 minutes from your hospital. In the mornings I'll make breakfast for you. After work I'll pick you up and take you home. We can raise a dog, an Alaska or a border collie. Either is fine. Every night we'll hold hands and go for walks. If it misbehaves, we'll discipline it together. For the holidays, we'll take turns going to your place and mine. My family has great tea and pastries, perfect for a formal introduction. I've got plenty of other things too. I pulled the hand resting on her knee into my palms and rubbed it gently. Bit by bit, trying to warm the chill, I looked straight into her eyes, emphasizing every word. I've lived 27 years. This is the first time I've ever liked someone this much. Never before, and never again. As I said this, Lu Nguyen just stared at me blankly. Her long lashes cast deep shadows beneath her eyes, the emotions at their depths as unfathomable as the sea. I couldn't see through them. I waited until even my breathing softened. I didn't know how much time passed before she closed her eyes, suddenly pulled her hand away, and spoke in an extremely low voice. Go. It felt like my heart had been smashed by a sledgehammer. I lowered my eyes, my fingernails digging deep into my palm. After a long while, I finally exhaled, forcing down the surging emotions, stood up slowly, and said, sorry, I talked too much tonight. I went into the kitchen, poured a glass of warm water, found a jar of honey, scooped a spoonful and stirred it in. The clinking sounds rang especially clear in the overly quiet room. I set the honey water on the nightstand. Drink a little, it'll help with the alcohol. Then I picked up the coat tossed casually on the sofa, straightened my back, walked out, and gently closed the door. When I got home, there was an uninvited guest in the living room. My elusive father, never around when needed, always stirring trouble, opened his mouth and immediately started scolding. With my mood at rock bottom, I had no desire to engage. I changed my shoes, ignored the figure on the sofa, and headed straight for the bedroom. I've already arranged for you to meet old Lin's granddaughter, Lam Tam, tomorrow night at Toi Tuyen Lao. Dress properly. I've sent you her WeChat. His tone was commanding. You're going whether you like it or not. Chasing one woman around every day. What kind of behavior is that? Fooling around is fine, but don't delay the important matters. I stopped. The hand gripping the doorknob tightened, veins faintly rising. Her name is Lam Tam. She just graduated with a master's degree. Her name is Lu Nguyen. I turned and cut him off, my voice calm but decisive. I'm not Wang En. She is the one for my life. Other than her, I won't date anyone. Dad, I'll say this once, I will be with her. If you agree, the whole family's happy. If you don't, then just consider it money wasted raising this son. You're a businessman, you can weigh the pros and cons yourself. I threw out those words and slammed the bedroom door shut. A moment later, curses erupted outside, followed by a door slamming with earth-shaking force. Lying sprawled on the bed, a sense of failure I'd never known before washed over me like a tide. That night, Lu Nguyen's resolute, go, and my father's tyranny took turns replaying in my head. I'd grown up surrounded by people, never lacking company, but no one had ever tangled my heart and turned my world upside down like Lu Nguyen. For a full year, I'd poured out my heart and soul, running to her department far more often than home. I could feel that she wasn't unmoved. So why, after I'd laid my heart bare, could she still coldly tell me to leave? But in this world, there's always someone you can't bear to let go of. Someone you'll stay beside even if it means being shameless. I pulled the pillow over my face, flailed my arms and legs wildly, kicked the blanket onto the floor, throwing a silent tantrum. When the anger in my chest finally dissipated, I let out a long breath. What else could I do? Once my little ancestor had set her sights on something, even kneeling, I'd have to chase it to the end. Before continuing the pursuit, though, I had to defuse the mine my old man had planted. I took out my phone, intending to add that lamb tam girl to apologize and cancel this ridiculous blind date. I clicked on the WeChat contact card, and the profile picture hit me square in the eyes. 4 bold characters, Madam Golden Matchmaker. The first post in her moments read, "The 55th couple successfully matched by yours truly. There's no red string I can't tie. Deposit $9,999. Meet in person or receive remote guidance." Without hesitation, I added her as a friend and immediately transferred 10,000. "Miss Lamb, tomorrow night at Toi Tuyen Lao, please do me the honor of joining me for dinner." Lam Tam replied almost instantly. "Deal confirmed." She sent over a script, which I opened. My eyelids twitched non-stop. This girl played wild indeed. Is this plan of yours really reliable? I drained my 5th cup of tea, my legs starting to tremble uncontrollably. That so-called script was actually just a Moments post she'd just uploaded, along with a photo of an elegant private room at Toi Tuyen Lao and the words, "A new beginning." My heart pounded like a drum. Sitting across from me was Madam Golden Matchmaker Lam Tam. Her short hair dyed smoky gray, wearing an oversized t-shirt with an edgy look, sipping milk tea through a straw. She rolled her eyes at me. "Do you even have money? Or not? For someone this stubborn to the bone, you have to use strong medicine. Haven't you heard the saying, you only learn to cherish something after you lose it?" "My dear big sister," I lowered my voice, "you absolutely must not mess this up for me. If she really thinks I've changed my feelings, I'll be wrong to death." As soon as I finished speaking, Lam Tam kicked me under the table without the slightest hesitation. "Wake up. I've seen this type plenty of times. On the surface, polite and distant, pretending not to be close. But deep down they have an extremely strong sense of possessiveness." She raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you say just now that when she was drunk, she took the initiative to kiss you? Isn't that obvious enough?" She leaned closer and lowered her voice. "Let me ask you, when you're drunk, do you just grab random people and kiss them?" I shook my head like a madman. "Exactly." She waved her hand confidently. "Relax, I'll handle everything. Full package, guaranteed." At most half an hour more, Lam Tam leisurely leaned back in her chair, playing with her phone, while I sat there like I was on burning coals. A few minutes later, a shadow fell over the table, carrying with it a familiar chill. My body stiffened as I slowly lifted my head. Lu Nguyen was standing there, her expression so dark it looked like water could drip from it. Her gaze sharp as ice blades stabbing straight into my face. Fear instantly clenched my heart. I was done for. I'd played too hard. Lam Tam, clearly thinking the situation still wasn't explosive enough, ignored the frantic eye signals I was giving her and shyly covered half her face, forcing out a coquettish tone. "Jiang Nam, I think you're really nice. You know how to care about people. What do you think about having our wedding in May next year? Would 2 kids be enough?" Ancestors above, this woman was trying to send me straight to my grave. "No, My words were brutally cut off. Lu Nguyen grabbed the back of my collar with one hand, lifted me straight off the chair like a little chicken, and yanked me behind her. She turned to look at Lam Tam, her face cold as money, her voice like shards of shattered ice, yet somehow still maintaining that bizarre, fake gentle mask. "Sorry, you two aren't suitable for each other." I stared blankly at the rigid lines of her back. Lu Nguyen radiated an oppressive low pressure, said nothing more, clamped onto my wrist with a grip so strong it felt like she was about to crush my bones, and turned to drag me away. Before I was pulled out, I saw Lam Tam wave at me and throw me a wink, "Good luck." Lu Nguyen was furious, but not the explosive kind. It was the terrifying silence before a storm. No yelling, no scolding, she just drove in silence. The air inside the car was so heavy it was suffocating. This was absolutely the calm before the storm. Tomorrow, I was definitely going to leave Lam Tam a 1-star review. The car drove straight to the building under Lu Nguyen's apartment. I kept my head down like a prisoner awaiting judgment, obediently following her upstairs and into the apartment. Unable to bear the tormenting atmosphere any longer, I desperately spoke first. This wasn't real. Before I could finish, the world flipped upside down. Lu Nguyen suddenly grabbed my collar and slammed me hard onto the sofa. Her body immediately pressed down on mine, carrying a devastating, destructive aura as she viciously locked onto my lips. This wasn't a kiss, it was biting, plundering. The air was ripped from my lungs in an instant. My vision went dark, physiological tears spilled uncontrollably, and I tasted the sharp metallic tang of blood. She finally released me and roughly wiped the moisture from the corner of my eyes with her fingertip. Her voice was hoarse and low, so pathetic. Before I could even catch my breath, she hooked an arm around me and lifted me straight up, making me straddle her lap. Facing her, where did this woman even get so much strength? As a man, I genuinely had nowhere to hide my face. Lu Nguyen kissed me again. This time the kiss was strangely gentle, dense and fragmented, carrying an almost desperate clinging affection. Her hands, however, were not gentle at all, and the omitted 200 words made my scalp go numb. The tingling numbness made tears well up again, my soul trembling. She kissed away my tears, hot breath brushing my ear, her voice extremely low. "Didn't you say you wanted my body? Wanted to sleep with me? Let's try." She dragged me a few steps into the bedroom, threw me onto the bed, and pressed down again. How could I possibly refuse a request like that? I, Jiang Nam, had finally gotten what I wanted. I kissed her back fervently, arms wrapping around her lean but solid back, trying to flip her over and take control, only to find I couldn't move her at all. When I woke up the next morning, my waist was sore, my whole body felt like it had been taken apart. I looked at Lu Nguyen sleeping soundly beside me, naked, then at the unmistakable marks on my own body, and fell into deep contemplation. What happened last night was completely different from what I'd imagined. It was pleasurable, very much so, and the experience could even be called peak level. But shouldn't I have been the strong gentleman? How was it that I couldn't even overpower a little white rabbit? This was scientifically impossible. Lu Nguyen stirred awake drowsily, her long arm wrapping tighter around me, her warm palm slowly kneading my sore lower back. Her voice was husky from sleep. "Does it still hurt?" I had to admit that Dr. Lu's bedside manners were excellent, gentle and attentive, but how could I admit defeat? I scrunched up my face and looked at her. "Baby, your technique still needs improvement. Next time let your husband take the lead, okay?" Lu Nguyen chuckled softly, took my hand, and kissed it lightly. "It's fine. Practice more and it'll be fine." The natural order had been overturned. But no matter what, she was mine now. After cuddling in her arms for a bit, I pulled my phone out from under the pillow, transferred the final payment to Lam Tam, and casually left a 5-star review. She replied instantly, "Only paying now? Got played too badly?" My hands shook, and my phone almost hit my face. I quickly typed back, "Cut the nonsense. My baby is tired and sleeping in my arms. I can't bear to wake her." Just as I smugly sent it, I felt Lu Nguyen's gaze fall on my lit-up screen. A little absent-minded, I wickedly hooked her chin with my index finger. "What? Realized you were tricked and regretting it now? Too late. Let me tell you, my worth is very high. Once you sleep with me, you're responsible for me for life." Lu Nguyen was silent for a moment, then hugged me tightly against her chest, her chin resting on the top of my head, every word crystal clear. Jiang Nam, if one day you discover that all my gentleness is just a disguise, that deep down I'm stubborn, obsessive, even a little cruel, what would you do? I rubbed my nose against her warm chest. Not cruel at all. If you were truly cruel, you wouldn't be a doctor saving lives. She tightened her arms, hugging me hard enough to hurt a little. I'm serious. If one day you grow to hate me and want to leave me. She paused, her voice sinking lower. I might lock you up. So you can only ever see me. Forever unable to leave me. I suddenly lifted my head. Forced love? Her eyes churned with a depth I couldn't understand. A barely perceptible tension hidden within. I propped my chin and pretended to think for a few seconds. Sounds kind of exciting. Seeing the darkness in her eyes deepen, I hurriedly added, though that premise of me hating you and leaving is impossible. But if you really want to play that way, it's not completely off the table. I leaned close to her ear and whispered with a wicked laugh, offering a terrible suggestion. We can hang 2 red ropes at the head of the bed. You prepare another pair of handcuffs. I didn't get to finish the rest of my shameless words. Lu Nuyen seemed unable to restrain herself anymore and flipped me over again, precisely locking onto my lips. My poor waist, within less than 24 hours, suffered its second round of devastation. Her little white rabbit was clearly a starving wolf in disguise. After thoroughly exhausting the last of my strength, Lu Nuyen helped me into the bathroom for a quick rinse. Then tucked me back into the warm blankets, holding me and chatting idly. My eyelids grew heavier and heavier, and I fell into a deep sleep. When I woke again, an enticing aroma drifted from the kitchen. Lu Nuyen was wearing an apron, busy at work. On the table was a steaming bowl of seafood congee. A huge sense of satisfaction instantly filled my chest. No wonder the ancients talked about hiding a beauty in a golden house. Keeping someone like this at home would be worth dying for. I happily set out the bowls and chopsticks. When everything was ready, I dug in. Lu Nuyen's cooking was flawless. Simple home-style dishes tasted like a grand imperial feast to me. How could there be someone so perfect in this world? Lu Nuyen, I said casually while sipping my congee. Come home with me for the new year. Her hands paused. She looked up at me. Her expression complicated. That morning, while we were cuddling, she'd told me about her family. Her parents passed away early. Years spent alone, on days meant for family reunions like that. I absolutely couldn't let her be alone anymore. Would that be inappropriate? She asked hesitantly. I put my spoon down, reached across the table to take her hand, and grinned. Nervous? Don't be, Dr. Lu. Even an ugly daughter-in-law has to meet the in-laws eventually, and you're not ugly at all. Every time you scold me. It's adorable. If you don't want to go, I'll stay here and celebrate with you. Under my combined soft and persistent coaxing and shameless clinginess, Lu Nuyen finally nodded reluctantly. She still had to work a shift at the hospital that afternoon. I took a stroll around her apartment, which was spotless like a model home. There was really nothing else to buy. The only issue was that it was still a bit far from the hospital. Commuting wasn't very convenient. Yeah, I needed to hurry up and buy that apartment at Luc Den Heen. Writing her name down counted as a betrothal gift. No, that's wrong. My brain short-circuited. It should be a bride price. After calculating everything properly, I collapsed onto the sofa like a puddle of mud, legs propped up on the coffee table, and made a phone call. Hello, Mom. Yeah, that's right. I'm bringing someone home for the new year. Tell Aunt Lu to prepare a few more dishes. Who else could it be? Of course it's your daughter-in-law. It's Lu Nuyen, the one I mentioned to you before. Yes, yes, yes. She's a doctor with a government position. Very stable work. Doctors in the family mean no worries about lining up for hospital registration numbers. Dad? Mom, you'll have to do some ideological work on him for me over there. Don't let that old fossil embarrass me when the time comes. I nearly risked my life to win her over. What does she like to eat? Seafood congee. For sure. I'll ask about the rest tonight. Okay, I'm hanging up. I tossed the phone aside and smugly drifted off into fantasies about the future, sleeping in during the mornings until she called me awake, picking her up after work, holding hands while walking the dog together. When Lu Nguyen was about to get off work, I snuck over to the hospital again. Lam Mong Mong had just finished her tasks and was resting at the nurse's station. I walked over with a swagger no one could match, knocked on the desk, and cheerfully announced some great news. She didn't even bother lifting her head, resting it on her arm. So you finally decided to give up on our Dr. Lu and turn back from the edge? I scoffed, leaned against the wall, and looked at her. Please, do I look like the type to give up halfway? Obviously I'm bursting with pride. Your Dr. Lu has already been taken down by me. Lam Mong Mong suddenly looked up at me like she was staring at an alien and reached out as if to check my forehead. Got a fever? Fever-induced delirium? Talking nonsense in broad daylight? I slickly ran a hand through my hair. Your brother here has looks, presence, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink excessively, doesn't snore. Aside from being handsome, I'm basically perfect. With conditions like that, wouldn't a cold, aloof flower like your Dr. Lu be easy to win? Lam Mong Mong rolled her eyes so hard it was practically earth-shattering. Bullshit. Keep bullshitting. Last time you had such a perfect opportunity and still failed. Clearly Dr. Lu belongs to the masses. In that case, she lifted her chin. She's getting off work now. Go on, call her baby, and see if she even acknowledges you. Before she finished speaking, Lu Nguyen's figure appeared at the end of the corridor. I immediately raised my hand and called out loudly, "Baby, your husband is here to pick you up from work." The nurses' station instantly fell dead silent. Lam Mong Mong and the other nurses all turned to look, their eyes filled with sympathy. This guy must really be insane. Completely beyond everyone's expectations, Lu Nguyen paused, then actually walked toward me. She naturally took my hand, her voice so gentle it could melt. "Why did you come here? Didn't I tell you to sleep a bit longer?" I clasped her fingers back, interlacing all 10, grinning so wide I practically forgot my country. "I said I'd pick you up from work and go home together." Lu Nguyen smiled faintly but genuinely, nodded to the girls at the nurses' station, and led me away amid jaws dropping all around. Lam Mong Mong was left speechless, only mouthing a silent holy shit, while I held my head high, feeling like life had reached its peak. From the moment our relationship made real progress, I completely abandoned my doghouse of an apartment and started living with Lu Nguyen. Picking her up from work became a routine as regular as clockwork. But making breakfast was truly beyond my capabilities. Anyone who gets thoroughly tossed around until midnight can't possibly crawl out of bed in the morning, especially when the other person has an early shift. Thankfully, although Lu Nguyen was merciless at night, she was extremely considerate in the morning. She always got up early and casually prepared breakfast to keep warm for me. I slept in shamelessly until the sun was high, only waking from hunger, then went to the kitchen to bring out a still warm bowl of congee and opened my laptop to deal with accumulated work emails. These small, peaceful days passed comfortably, but Lu Nguyen was visibly tense. Because the Empress Dowager in my family couldn't wait until the new year and insisted on meeting her daughter-in-law tomorrow night. New Year's Eve, when I caught Lu Nguyen staring blankly at her medical textbook for the third time. I finally couldn't help laughing. I reached over, took the book from her hands, leaned down, and kissed her. "What's wrong, my great beauty? You're about to stare holes through the book. Nervous?" Her fingers brushed my lips as she hesitated. "Isn't this a bit sudden? Should we give them more time to prepare?" I grabbed her hand. "Prepare what? When I was chasing you, I already reported everything to the organization." "What?" I deliberately put on a stern face. "You've eaten me clean and now you want to abandon me? Comrade Lu Nguyen, that's a very dangerous line of thinking." She smiled helplessly. "I'm just worried about being improper." "Relax." I patted my chest. "It's just a family dinner. My mom likes you a lot." That wasn't a lie. My mom, Madame Lu, is a veteran web novel addict with imagination that soars beyond the horizon. When I finally mustered the courage to confess about my partner, She not only wasn't angry but lit up and fired off her soul-level triple question. Is she pretty? Is her figure good? Are you on top or is she on top? None of the prepared keyboards and durians were even needed. When she heard I'd successfully won her over, she patted her chest and promised she'd already disciplined my old man, no matter what. Goods had to be inspected first. Reality proved that Madame Lu didn't care whether her daughter-in-law was male or female, looks were justice. The moment she saw Lu Nguyen, she acted like she'd found an ally, burning with enthusiasm, grabbing her hand and asking about everything from work to daily life. Practically wanting to package her son and give him away. Lu Nguyen was probably experiencing such warmth from an elder for the first time. A bit flustered but with warmth in her eyes. As for my dad, under my mom's absolute dominance at home, he could only swallow his grievances every time he tried to put on a strict father act. My mom shut him down with a single glare. The meal passed with both host and guests happy, at least my mom and I were. Before leaving, Madame Lu placed my hand over Lu Nguyen's, patted them hard, and her eyes suddenly reddened. I don't ask for grandchildren. I only hope my child finds someone sincere, someone to hold hands with for a lifetime, to live peacefully and happily. My nose stung. I quickly wrapped an arm around Lu Nguyen's shoulders. Don't worry, Mom. Lu Nguyen is already completely bewitched by your son, and I'm wholeheartedly devoted to her. Heaven and earth can bear witness. You should worry about that one over there first. I jerked my chin toward the dining table. My dad was red-faced, playing rock paper scissors with himself, muttering, "Old Zhang, you lost. I've dominated drinking tables for decades and still couldn't outdrink you?" Madame Lu stamped her foot in embarrassment. "Xiao Zhang, get over here and carry him to the car." Lu Nguyen, the driver Xiao Zhang, and I worked together to haul my dead drunk father into the car. Watching the car drive away, Lu Nguyen let out a soft sigh of relief. She hadn't drunk any alcohol. By the time we got home, there was less than half an hour until the new year. She helped my slightly tipsy self onto the sofa, placing a soft pillow behind my waist. "How do you feel? Dizzy?" I grinned foolishly, tugged her down so she fell onto me, leaned close, alcohol on my breath. "Dr. Lu, you've met the parents. From now on, you're mine. In the hospital system, remember to tick the married box under personal information. Okay?" Her fingers brushed my cheek, her lips curving into a gentle smile as she nodded. I bowed and kissed her loudly, staggered up, pulled out a thick folder from the coffee table drawer, and slapped it into her arms. "Here, Jiang Nam doesn't like empty-handed conquests. This is your bride price." She opened it suspiciously and pulled out a brand new property deed. When she saw Luke Din Heen and the owner's name, her long lashes trembled. "Do you remember what you said?" I leaned in, resting my chin on her shoulder. "If you agreed to be with me, I'd buy an apartment at Luke Din Heen." My voice grew lower, nearly tied her ear. "Only 10 minutes from your hospital. You can sleep an extra half hour every morning, if you're the type who wakes up on time." I laughed wickedly and blew gently on her sensitive ear. That half hour could also be used for something else. Her ear instantly turned red. Why did this feel like tricking feudal lords with beacon fires? I hugged her tightly. "Hey, baby, my mom asked what else you like to eat so she can prepare it for the new year." Lu Nguyen suddenly turned her head, her voice low. "Eating you?" I exaggeratedly exclaimed. "Wow, Dr. Lu, you look so proper on the surface but you're this wild in private?" Everything I said after that was fiercely cut off and crushed between burning kisses. Outside the window, the 12 o'clock bell rang as the first brilliant fireworks exploded across the sky. Cheers erupted from the crowd below. New Year's greetings pierced through the glass, carrying joyous blessings. The old year had passed. The new year had arrived. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.